they require $5,000 down. Normally, an opportunity requires some big money, what we don't have. And I can't wait till I do my crypto show. Obviously, that's not business advice. But anybody who's got Shiba Inu, one texter said that they got 100 million Shiba. Lord God, in the morning, you know what that is? To have 100 million Shiba today? How long did you have 100 million Shiba? I was told of an attorney who was just making buku dollars off of her Shiba. So people are doing stuff. We'll have that show sometime next week. But that to me is what is spurred, and I'm excited to have my friend back on. Because I like the idea of touching, right? Like we can really do some things here. So let me bring on that. I don't want to belabor my friend here, DRC. Rahming Jr. Arawak X. How you doing, buddy? Do you have any Shiba on you? You have any Shiba?
I don't. I'm a companies kind of guy. I believe in I'm not gonna lie. I understand why people are speculating on these different cryptocurrencies, but there is another way of seeing large returns, and it's the traditional way, and it's investing in high growth, innovative companies.
Slow and steady. Mm-hmm. Less risk, less volatility, but there is risk.
Of course, with all investments, there are risk. Even the really super safe ones, even if you keep your money in the bank, if the bank fails, there's risk. So all investments have risk.
You know how unfortunate you have to be, Darcy, if the bank fails, but you got your money in. Like you have to be the most.
Yeah. I mean, but it's. So, with all, I say all that to say that traditionally speaking about wealth, how the really wealthy made money was they made money by getting into early stage companies that early on, and so. That's why there's this whole industry called private equity. That's all they're trying to do is they're getting into these that space before the company is big. Because could you imagine buying 10% of Facebook before it was Facebook?
Listen, Apple,
exactly.
Tesla,
exactly. Any of those companies. But by the time they get to the stock market, they're already big companies. So like, for example, Apple, right? Apple, you could buy an Apple stock now, but is it really going to be a $20 trillion company?
No.
Is that? No. So, it's all of it might double, but I don't see it becoming a $20 trillion company. You can't times by 10. Whereas if you get a company.
And even to get on that, to buy a share right now, how many people have that sort of cash to buy just one share?
Exactly.
So it is definitely different, but we really have to decide where to get in. And that even in the discussion, and I love how you said, okay, if you're just tuning in, DRC Rahming Jr., Arawak X Chief Technical Officer joining us from
to make sure the computers work and the website doesn't crash.
That's but you're a businessman too. Don't try and run from it. You're a smart fella. Because one of the things that I like about and why I love the Arawak X and the project, which is what it's doing, is the understanding of how to get in at the ground floor. The ground floor gives me more leverage, right? Less money in, the potential, the exponential ability of growth if we do well.
Exactly.
I'm seeing now with my $25, maybe in the next 5 to 10 years, I'm looking at $2,500. Well, that's crazy growth. But I'm just saying.
It's only growth of 100 times, which, by the way, sounds crazy for big companies, because big companies, it's really difficult to grow. Like, for example, Apple right now sells, I think it's like 50 million iPhones a quarter, right? To grow 10 times, you'd have to sell 500 million. I mean, that would mean you'd be selling an iPhone to every person on the planet every quarter. I mean, that the math doesn't make any sense at that point. And so it's while take the two companies that are listed right now, for them to grow 10 times, they have to just work their business plan as you see it. And then for them to grow 100 times, they'd have to, of course, probably come back to the market for more money, because you finance these leaps of growth. So I say all that to say that traditionally, how money is made in the world, how people become wealthy, is 4 ways. So either you're born rich, God bless you if you are. Some
God
people,
bless you.
the rest of us, that's not an
Coming
option.
up.
The second is you have an amazing skill. So like think basketball players, doctors, like cardiac surgeons, brain surgeons. They have an amazing skill that somebody will pay them oodles of money to do. That's a very small percentage of people as
Yep.
well. The third is if you're a business owner, if you're the founder of a business, it's not easy. It's a different way of getting it, but the potential of becoming wealthy is there. And the fourth is to be an investor. And so it's those last two that we at Arawak X support: the investors and the business owners, because they're really intertwined. Because what an investor is doing is he has excess cash that he's looking for a return on. What a business person is doing is they have an opportunity that they see. And how do you bring the two of them together in a way that is regulated so that both can participate in this opportunity? And so what Arawak X does is it allows you to invest. I think we even got it down to low 60 in dollars.
I'm telling you.
So the barrier to entry is gone. So there's no excuse anymore.
And that's what I'm so glad you said. Let's talk about this barrier to entry, right? DRC Rahming Jr. joining us, Arawak X, because this, for me, that has always been this issue, right? We live here now in the Bahamas. We're watching NASDAQ, we're watching the NASDAQ 500. We're watching all of these different options here, S&P. We're talking, you watch Kramer and he's like, sell, sell, sell. You're seeing all of this. And then we come to, God bless us, God bless it, BISX, right? We're seeing low moving stocks, little trajectory, little increments. And then there's a question of liquidity. How quickly can we, decide, hey, I want to pull out? Where is really the dividends? If we buy bonds, if we buy into, say, the port, they can probably come and buy back all of what you have so that they can secure their position. So it's kind of different here, where there's really, our market of investment and getting in isn't as what we see in the world ahead of us, above us. So I like the model that is presented, but the question that I have for you with the model presented by Arawak X that gives me this leverage to get in at the ground floor is what is the hopes of an investor when we talk about, all right, I like what I see. I'm going to wait 5 years on this business idea here. And what are my projections? Am I supposed to see some return? Am I supposed to see growth?
So every company, so just like BISX, we are licensed stock exchange. It's called a marketplace license, same license as BISX. And we're focused on a different type of company. So they're focused on a specific type of company. We're focused on high growth, innovative startups. And what that means is, and by the way, startup doesn't just mean you're starting a business. It means that you've structured the company to grow. And so we like to use a team that delivers magic. So this is how we make sure that each company that lists on Arawak X, that comes to the crowd for funding, has growth in mind. Team stands for the executive, advisors, and management. Who's running this thing? Take a really hard look at the people that are running the business, because at the end of the day, business is about people. And if you don't have the right team, it doesn't matter how good the idea is. If it's a medical business and nobody there has done anything medical, it's not going to work. Or it's going to, because at the end of the day, that's the business that it's in. It's a medical business. So you need medical people. You also need business people because, a doctor that's a great surgeon may not necessarily have the skills of, an accountant. But then, like I say, teams of people is what makes business work. Then there's the magic. M stands for our market that is big enough. A stands for access to that market. Can you get in front of those companies? G is that growth of 10 times. So every company that you see on Arawak X is trying to move from where they are right now 10 times. And so the reason being is because the risk is high-ish compared to other investments in the market. But when you're trying to grow 10 times, you just have to say to yourself, you know what? What if these guys are right? What if they do this? Then I make 10 times on my money, at least.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a pretty good risk for risk reward type bounce.
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody said they want to grow 5,000 10 times. That'd be pretty good. I want to put some money in your company. The I stands for innovative, something innovative. And by the way, speaking of that, I'll be saying that in jest, but I believe that there's someone here in the Bahamas right now with an idea that could be as big as Facebook. I do believe that.
Yeah, I believe that as well.
It's just about finding them, making sure that they're surrounded by the right team, and then trying to remove as much barriers as possible, unshackling them so that they can run into international business. So
hold on, DRC, let me ask you just on that, what you're saying. You're calling for, are you guys like an incubator even in and of yourself with this team?
We're not quite an incubator. So incubators kind of handhold the business. We set up the environment through rules based on our experience as management consultants. Mm-hmm. So for folks at home that don't know what a management consultant is someone that works with a business, the executives in a business, the ownership in the business, the shareholders in the business, to make sure that it's structured properly for growth. And so that could mean many things. Oftentimes, in our little town, it means helping them with sales, because the first thing you can do as a business is if you double your sales and keep your expenses the same, you solve most of your problems. Not all of your problems, but you solve most of them. So we worked a lot with sales and marketing. And if you've been following our OACX, we're pretty good at that stuff.
Yeah. So very good.
Yeah. So in our experience working with management consultants, we got to see a lot of business models and a lot of people and companies and the way that they were structured. And the ones that were successful were structured a certain way. And that's what that C in MAGIC stands for, that corporate governance, making sure that the companies are structured in a way so that you are able to avoid many of the pitfalls. Yeah, the tons and tons of ways to die in a business. There are tons and tons of ways to succeed, but there are also some really known things to prevent you from dying. I see a question here. $16 is recurring. Yeah. No, it's you buy those shares and those are yours at that price, and you can buy as many of them as you want until it's closed, and then you'd have to wait until it goes on a secondary market.
So far, sorry, and finish that thought there, DRC Jr. If you're just tuning in, DRC Rahming Jr., RWACX Chief Technical Officer, but actually one of the, just a brilliant young man as well. Business, very much has a sharp business acumen and smarter than a lot of people I know. So DRC, with regard to just on the prospect of the companies, I know right now, I know we have 2 live companies.
Yes.
And it's Red Lobster, Pinnacle franchise brand, right?
Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, yesterday passed its minimum. So there will be a Red Lobster in the Bahamas.
What? Hold on, but it's not too late, right? Because I didn't sign up.
So it's not too late to get in. But so they've hit their minimum and they're going up to their maximum. So you can still get in there. But
24 days left.
Yeah, or until it hits the maximum. So when it hits the maximum, because it's equity, they don't want to sell any more of those shares. They don't want to give up any more of the company. That's kind of when we cut it off. Yeah.
Well, better stop. As good people say, stop slapping up Nahaja and get on it. And then, of course, we also have something. I think this next one, this Bahamas, what is it?
Groove. I think they rebranded themselves as Groove.
Yeah.
So,
and tell us a bit about that company, because
they're a really cool company. It's a augmented reality. There's a difference. tours. So you'll be able to go downtown, other places, sign up for a tour on your phone, and then kind of like Pokemon Go, you'll be able to follow an avatar as it kind of walks you downtown.
I love it.
And it'll be able to, like, say it's a history tour, and you'll be able to do that. So that's one aspect. They have global designs. So, it's that, and they're trying to make it an open platform so that creatives can create their own tours and monetize them.
Let me tell you why I really like that idea. And I think that is just as much as I love the Red Lobster one as well, right? And I know that they
Red Lobster feeds the belly. That one feeds the mind.
The mind. And that is the way of tours, right? We know people travel via their phone and their apps. They want to make, if you ever play Pokemon Go, you understand how addictive that is even in and of itself. But the augmented tour, so you no longer need that tour guide. You pay your fee. Any guest, any visitor, anywhere in the world now says, hey, let me just spend this couple dollars and I can walk downtown with my tour guide. It is going to be revolutionary for how we do touring. I don't know who the company owners are, but tell them I very much love this idea. And
the principal, the CEO is Marcian Cash. So you can go on arawakx.com, and when you look at these companies, it gives you all of the information that you need to know. We have a lot of finance people at the firm, so we make sure to give there's a full disclosure of all the information that you need to invest. And so if you are a beginner at investing, buy a couple shares. If you're more experienced, you'll still be able to see all of your projections, financials, et cetera, et cetera. So it's we tried to make it super user friendly, but also you can go as in depth into the company as possible for you to make an investment decision. So it's which is not easy to do, by the way. To not overcomplicate it, but make sure that there's enough information. If you want to do the deep dive, you can.
And so we're able to see future forecasts. What are they projecting for the next 4 or 5 years?
I don't know if anybody 4 or 5 year projections after COVID. I mean, everybody, who knows what's going to happen in 18 months? I mean,
that's right.
Who knows? I mean, anyway, that's
And then you're so right on it. And I think some of the interesting things about why I love, and again, Arawak X, DRC Rahming Jr. And this is DRC. This is probably your 4th, 5th time on the show. And I keep on saying we need to do this longer and more, is because we have right now, it's still a challenge for people to buy stocks. If you want to, let's just say, man, listen, I don't necessarily want a middleman. I don't want a manager. I've got an extra $400, $500. I just want to buy some shares in company X. We have challenges doing that, right? You can't just.
Well, you can with us, and the company's listed on Arawak X. So we actually make our money. We don't make our money off of fees for the investor. We make our money off from the companies. The companies kind of pay us for our services, and so. When you buy that $16 share, that's $16 worth of equity you purchase. Yeah. And so it's like I say, we've done 2. One is successful. The other one, we expect to be successful within the next couple of days. On Monday, we're launching a new company.
Really?
So, yeah, I can say, I'm only allowed to say certain things before companies are listed. I will say that this one is led by 2 wonderfully intelligent, beautiful women that are passionate about what they do. And you guys are going to be really excited because it's in a space that our country has been talking about for a very long time that we need to be in. And so, it's a really cool company. Really cool company.
Well, see, now you're smiling ear to ear, DRC. So
it's really cool. It's like, I mean, like, hey, I mean, I love business. This is why I'm doing this. This is why the team at Arawak X is doing this, because we love business and we love helping entrepreneurs. We love making sure that investments are well structured, and so kind of combines our passion for business and then finance, and then of course technology, which every day I wake up and I'm really happy to be doing what I do.
Doing, yeah.
Yeah.
And we can
Yeah.
tell it too. Something here, if for someone who wants to get their business, who believes that their business, needs this sort of support and financing, we need the startup help. What would you say to them? What sort of preparation should they come with? What would you say to a business owner?
I would actually say right now, go and buy a couple of shares in one of these companies to learn the process from the investor side. Because when you go to and look for equity, you have to remember that you're making a sales pitch to investors. And so, when you come in, oftentimes we have a lot of business people, they come in and they start talking about their business and their things. That's really nice. That's your sales pitch for your customers. But for an investor, he's interested in a return on his investment.
Yes.
So that means you need to make sure that the way you talk about your business is there so that he can see a return on his investment. That's what he cares about. And so it's important that you understand that. And the best way to understand that is to have been an investor in somebody else's business. And so what happens is when you do that, then you'll properly understand, sitting across the table now in your own business, what do you need to do and what high barriers you need to go, because these are not just, so it's not easy to list on Arawak-X. It takes, even if you're well prepared, 3 to 6 months. And that's with knowing everything, and you get everything. Our responsibility as a marketplace is to protect the investor. And so it's not, we can't just let anybody list. But if you are of the mind to say, okay, I'm going to seek investment from the community, and I'm willing to, I understand that that's not just free money. I have rights and responsibilities to these investors, because when I invest, want someone to take care of my, my investment. Because so it's that duality. And often people just think about, oh, I'm in this business, I'm going to do this. Or a lot of Bahamians, they oftentimes we hear people talk about, it's my company and da 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 da. Yeah, but you can't get to where you're going without investment. And so you need to understand what makes the investor work. And it's I see someone make a sales pitch to investor.
Yeah, can anyone? Yeah,
that's what I mean. Sales pitches are different. Me saying to you, come buy this wonderful hot dog, is very different than me saying, I have a hot dog stand, come invest in my hot dog stand, because you're going to see a return. One, you get a hot dog that might be very good, and the other, you get a return on your money, which are two different things. So that's what I mean. There's a distinction. And these are some great questions that I'm seeing.
And someone asked, and she also asked, is there anyone who can help? Do you guys have someone who can help me with that pitch, right?
Yeah. So we work with a community of business developers. And so if we're business people too. So we don't actually help in-house, but we'll help direct you to someone that can help you. We kind of take a business across the finish line. So they already have their product, they already have their pitch deck, they already have their story, and we, spruce you up so that you can do the very public dance of crowdfunding, because it is a very public experience. And so that means you have to know what your business, you have to know your customers, you have to be a business person of a certain level to get there. And I say all that to say that even if you're not a business person at that level, still contact us. We'll make sure to get you in the pipeline. We are business people too. Nobody starts off knowing any of this stuff. Not as an investor, not as a business person. You have to go through a process like crowdfunding to get these kinds of skills. And so
I think if you're just tuning in, Diasi Rahming Jr., CTO. CTO.
I don't want the CFO job. That's a terrible job.
I don't want that job. Nobody should want that job, but the CFO.
Hey, accountants love it.
No, that's just, it takes a certain special someone.
Yeah,
to want
that's why they're teams. Like I say, that's why we're teams. We're built in teams. I'm not bent that way.
If you're just tuning in, Arawak X here again, and really wanting us to push towards becoming more investors in Bahamian businesses, guys. Really thinking that is, knowing that is the way that we move the country forward, not waiting for government intervention. We are the stimulus. We are the funds.
Let me add to that. So Red Lobster, by hitting its minimum, is going to hire 180 people.
Wow.
So that's 180 people that are not going to be in need of social help. Yeah. And so that's
huge.
Companies are about. Properly structured, properly funded companies hire people. They go and they pay taxes. And once you pay those taxes, then government services can run. If we do this right and get enough companies, maybe even government salaries and stuff will go up. And so it's really important that we understand the linkage between business that is going after opportunity and economic development. The two come together. And so there's a lot of positive spin-offs that are going to happen from when these companies get funded.
You know, DRC, and I think you hit on it so perfectly there, the linkages, right? And what we want is private sector growth. We want more Bahamians to begin to experience the financial success and the capitalization of their business, where it's been a challenge before. And what you're saying, DRC, with Arawak X is that you create the space, the platform to crowdfund, the crowdsource. And I, as an investor now, or someone, I'm just not giving where you would have the, what was the name of the crowdfunding app back in the day? Website, the one in the States. What's the name? The big one.
The Kickstarter or GoFundMe?
Kickstarter. Yeah, Kickstarter. Where Kickstarter was really, I just appreciate the fact that you make great wallets, man. I'm going to help you make great wallets. And we had no equity in it.
Hey, it's funny that you bring that up. You know what the famous product on Kickstarter was?
What was it?
That created equity crowdfunding. Oculus.
Yes, the goggles. Yes.
The goggles, yes. And this is so timely for the news because these people, they've said, oh my God, virtual reality. This is going to be the coolest thing. Let me get some of these goggles. They took the product, they made the product, and then Facebook went and bought them for $1 billion. And then today, Facebook just revamped what they're doing. They're moving completely into that space. Now, imagine if you own shares in that company.
Imagine
how much money you would have made even when Facebook bought it. I mean, you would have went from like, oh yeah, I throw my $100 in and thank you for my $10,000 check. That's the kind of thing. And so that's what really one of the key catalyst events that spurred this equity crowdfunding movement is that you get into that company early, and even if a giant company like Facebook swallows up the company, you're going to see a nice return on your investment.
Yeah. And that's what we love, right? That nice return on the investment. Do you guys believe when you look at this, DRC, and you look at the businesses that you're putting on the platform, the goal of Arawak X is to put companies on the platform that you truly believe, based on your team, based on the magic of the team, that will be
so there's something. So we do not make a judgment on the business idea. Okay. The market makes the judgment on the business idea.
Okay.
We make sure that it is structured properly so that it's that team with magic. Because even Facebook and companies like Apple and Microsoft were dumb ideas to a lot of people. And so, because it was new. So we can't, every idea doesn't click to everyone. That's just not how visions and ideas work.
That's right.
But you can make sure that the structure around it fits that mold so that if it is a good idea, if the market does say, yes, we're ready for this, you can get a return on your investment. And so that's why you'll see at all times, we try to reserve judgment from the idea itself. Because you, the crowd, and you, the investor, and you, the business community, will make that judgment, and that's a personal judgment. So that's not something that any one person could do. Because what you'll find is if we start making those judgment calls, our own personal biases will come out. Like, for example, I'm a tech guy, so like anything tech is wonderful. I am not into some of these businesses. So that means that they can't ever be listed? That would be ridiculous, right? So it's we don't judge the idea. You judge the idea. We make sure that the idea is structured.
I love it. Someone asked, does the investors include banks and land developers?
So the investors can include banks and land developers, yes. So so one of the big things about our company is an idea called financial inclusion. And what that means is that, and this is maybe a controversial thought, the rich should get richer, the middle class should get richer, and the poor should get richer. It's not distribution of wealth. No, you put in what you put in, and you should see a return on what you put in at every level. And the distinction is, just because you got $25, just because you got $16, doesn't mean you're not included. So when one of the things we want to do with this is a tool for economic growth. As the economy grows, everybody should grow. Everybody should be wealthier. And I know that makes some people uncomfortable. People like the idea of redistributing wealth. That's not how capitalism works. Capitalism is not about redistribution. Capitalism is about growing the pie so that everybody has a little bit bigger of a slice, no matter where you are.
No, and I like that too. I always say, don't watch the other person's money. Just watch yours. Multiply yours in your space, and don't get caught up in trying to figure out how to reduce somebody else's pie.
And you'll live a happier life because of it too.
Don't watch other people. Just stop watching. Someone asks, what if you don't have a bill in your name? How can you become an investor?
So you don't need a bill in your name. We the central bank governor recently got rid of that requirement.
That's great. That's great.
He did,
actually.
For financial inclusion. I mean, it was amazing. So we immediately adopted that policy, wrote that into our policies and procedures. And so just go right on the website. You should be able to do it within 5 minutes. If you have tons of money, we're going to ask you for a little bit more documents. Sorry, that's just KYC. How it is. KYC goes up the more money, the more you want to invest. But outside of that, it's super simple. We revamped the whole process. If you came to us at the early days, there were tons and tons of forms. We worked with our regulators. We worked with industry professionals to streamline that down into a single 5-minute form. You are going to need, it is financial services, so you still are going to need IDs and to fill out some forms. But it's like I say, 5 minutes. And you just click start investing. So the folks at home, you click that start investing and take it to that page, and boom, takes you about 5 minutes. You click let's go, and then the form will load, and then you'll see some places to upload documents, etc. It's actually we tried to make it super simple. So I see the person in the studio. Click I'm a Bahamian. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then you just fill out those forms, and then it's going to ask you to upload 2 documents, and that's it. Done. Scroll to the bottom, click submit, and the compliance folk will get back to you with your login information, and then you can start investing.
Yeah, and it seems pretty straightforward. And I've already gone through it, so I've started. I kind of started in some way, shape, or form. So, but the
website is arawakx.com. Arawakx.com. You should be able to do that. By the way, I'm loving these comments, folks, because I'm trying to make sure this stays interactive.
Yeah, and folks, really, and I appreciate everyone who is tuning in with regard to this, because I want more people to actually really dive in and really look at the opportunities here in investing locally as you watch the rest of the world go crazy. Like I said, I got friends who are living their best life, DRC, with Sheba, right? They're living their best life. I just am afraid of when to get out. I can't pay enough attention on that stuff.
I am, like I say, I believe in companies. I believe in things that I can touch. it's I don't wear much jewelry, because even like gold and stuff like that, I don't view as an investment. Some people view it as like an investment.
Yeah.
I like things that I like innovative companies. So if this thing if they happen to be right, I'm going to be on the big upside. That's where that's my risk profile, is why I'm in this kind of business. But like all investments, people have to make sure that they understand the risk and they understand their personal risk profile. I see something, how tax filed on investments. You have to file your taxes. So, I mean, if you're, so how are they filed? If you're
get your TIN number. Get your TIN number.
I mean, if you're you're gonna have to consult your tax attorney on that stuff. It's so different depending on what country and what citizen you are, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's not an easy question to answer. That's why they have
persons are asking about security on the site. How safe is it?
How safe is it? So we have the same people that are responsible for keeping the U.S. government's information safe as consultants working with us. So it's super, super safe. It's as safe as you can be on the internet. Do they get hacked? Yes. But I doubt a government is coming to hack your personal information on this site. But it's as safe as industry standards allow.
Yeah. DRC, again, finally, before I let you go, let folks know how they can contact you, how they can, if they want to get their company on this site, and just to get started, like you said.
So go to arawakx.com. If you're a company, you click that raise capital button. It's a different process. Obviously, companies are vetted completely differently than individuals. If you're an individual, you go and you click start investing, or I'm an investor. And go through that process. We've tried to make both processes super simple. Like I said, if you're just joining us, our job is to link properly structured companies and ideas up with investors in the crowd. We don't make that decision. The investors make that decision themselves. They buy directly into the company. We just manage the marketplace where that happens over the rules. And so, the companies, the team that delivers magic is what's going to make it work or not. We just make sure that it happens in a relatively structured way.
All right, DRC, thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate you. Always a pleasure to have you on the show. DRC Rahming Jr., AWACX. Thanks so much, buddy. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja, Black Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, I also want to hit you up with